All right, so I have pulled in the CSS and images that I created for this. The CSS is pretty straightforward. I just updated the existing site.css file with some styling for the presents. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into index, and we're just going to wrap this unordered list in a div. Okay. And then we're going to give it the class of presence. Okay, and let's go see how that looks. Still thinking, we'll give it a minute. Okay, and we need to remove this about because we're not, we don't need that, we're not using it, so we're just going to get that out of your main layout. Let's go back. Okay, awesome. So we've got today, right? It's Saturday, December 19th. We've got 1 through 19. So let's click on one of them. Okay, so and if we click on one of them, right, we get the routing. Sorry, there's nothing at this address. And if we click on today's surprise, this is still the counter. So that's what we need to fix, right? We need to remove this counter content and replace it with the content that we want to see when we come to the present. Okay, so um, so this is one of the interesting things with pages, and you kind of have a similar setup with I guess Angular and React, is that you can actually pass parameters of variables into your routing. And well, let's go back and look. You can see, where was it? That we actually did that already, right? We're sending this nav link to present with the present ID. So we're going to update the view present page to match. And the way you do that in Blazor is you have your curly braces and the parameter coming in and its type, right? And so we're going to get rid of all of this because this is no longer valid. And we're going to get rid of this, right? And we're going to add in an incoming parameter, which is going to be the ID. Okay, so what are we going to do with this when we get into this page, right? What we really want to do is we want to display the contents of this present item, right? So what we're going to do is and this is similar to the survey prompt you saw at the very beginning, we're going to pull in present item. But this is a similar issue we had earlier, or same as the issue we had earlier with the imports. So we want to go back to imports, and we want to do at using Blazor components. Okay. So now, if we go back here, we can remove this and just do present item. Okay. And if you recall, present item takes one parameter, and that is present. So we're going to pass in present, and we're going to pass in present, which we haven't created yet. So let's go create that. Okay. So for this, we're just going to have a private variable or a private field. If I can spell private right. And it's going to be a present, and it's going to be present. Okay, so we are now passing the present into the present item component, but as we've run into before, there's nothing there, right? It hasn't been initialized, it hasn't been populated. So what do we do to do that? Well, one of the things that we do or can do um, is use another one of um, uh, Blazor's built-in methods, right? We used onInitialized um, before, but on this one, we're going to use onParameterSet. And what this basically does is it makes sure that it has a valid parameter, or the parameter has been set when coming to this page before it does anything, right? So we're going to do present equals, and let's see. So that's going to be, yep, we need to inject the present repository, right? All these little things. But hey, this is this is um this is development, right? You're like, oh, I need this, and then let's add this. And then, oh, I forgot this. Okay, so we got the present repository, and we're getting the present um, because on the index we're getting presents. This one we want to use get present, and we want to give it the ID that's being passed in as the parameter. Okay, and let's see how that works. So let's go back here. We're gonna let it do its rebuild. No, it didn't like that. Let's see if it'll catch up. If not, we may have to go restart our .NET run. Okay, and also may be missing something. We'll see. So let's get it back up and running. Oh, good. Okay, so here we go. We're back. We're back here. Now let's see if we can actually see the page. Ah, yes. Right. So we clicked on present 1. We clicked on present 8. So we're seeing the text associated with the name, but we're not seeing the Blazor resource. And that's because we're not actually um, setting the URL instead of present. If you recall, the URL by default is empty. So let's set that. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to use that resource that we set up earlier. And present URL is going to equal get repository, get resource. We don't have to pass anything because we're just getting a random resource from that list of 10. Okay, so let's see what we get here. It's thinking, it's doing its thing. Ah, there we go. Okay, so let's see. So we click on 2. Ah, good. Okay, so that is now working. Okay, so that is doing exactly what we need to do. Let's look at today's surprise. Okay, so again, sorry, there's nothing at this address, and the reason is because right, this item in the nav menu uh, should be pointing to the same path or the same item, but it is currently not. So let's go fix that. We're going to go to the nav menu, and here we're going to do the same thing that we've done previously for the nav link, and that is use the @ and we're going to do an interpolated string. That's a mouthful, right? And we're going to do present. And because the link is today's surprise, we want to use today's day, which is, we want to use the number for the day, which is going to match the ID associated with that present. So to do that, we're going to do this, and we're going to do date time dot today dot day. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. So this will basically append the today's number to the present path, and let's see what that will get us. Okay, that worked. Now taste the surprise. 6 days until Christmas, which is the 19th. So let's go verify. We're getting the exact same thing here. 6 days until Christmas. And you'll see that the path is present 19. Okay. One thing that we want to think about is, and this is something that you run into with development all the time, is edge cases or outside of the norm of your development, possible issues you run into. You get very used to this, but for instance, right, I don't have a lot of guards around what days you can put in here or how many days or how this works, right? This is a very simple example, but what if we did 26, right? So it's going to blow up. And the reason is, um, we don't have a 26, right? And it has no way of uh, populating this present with that ID because it doesn't exist. And because that doesn't exist, um, this is failing because the object doesn't exist yet. And so we're getting this, nasty error message in development. We would get something different in production. But it's not even failing gracefully, right? So let's put in a simple guard here. So if present is not equal to null, then we're going to do this. But one other, let's just add in another guard, or a lot of people would probably call this a hack. But for this works just fine. If ID is greater than 25, then we're going to set ID equal to 25, right? Because we don't want it to go beyond 25. And in this case, this will never be tripped because present is always going to exist because we have 25 items in the list. Okay, so let's go see what we have here and refresh. Okay, so let's go see one. Let's go to today's surprise. Okay, 19. So let's go put in 26 here. Okay, so it took the 26 and because it was greater than 25, it reset the ID to 25 to make sure that we got valid data or got an object back from present. Okay. And like I said, I'm gonna push this repository up to GitHub. I'm probably gonna make a couple of small tweaks when it goes up there. But if you're curious, or you want to dig around or play with it, please go take a look. Also, we may come back to this in the near future. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with Blazor, right? It's honestly it's new. I believe it only went from experimental to preview to live in the past year, right? So it's very new, but there's so much cool stuff you can do with this, and you can do a lot of the same stuff that you would do in MVC or Web API with roles and attributes, and basically setting up a system where you can have administrators and users and editors and whatnot, and it be really robust. So I think we're going to probably come back and do some of those things later, but for now I think we're in a pretty good place. Hopefully you learned some stuff through this process. I know I had fun, and I always learn something new when I get in and start doing some development. And I hope you all have a great day and a wonderful holiday season. And I will see y'all later. Bye, y'all.